Welcome to Radio Waves. I'm your host, Kris Poliquin, and this is a production from Red Apples Media. We are broadcasting out of WLBE, my 790 AM out of Leesburg, Florida. And I would also like to welcome our viewers who are watching us on Lake Sumter Television. You can see us on Comcast Channel 13, Spectrum Channel 498, or Century Link Prism Channel 83. So today we'll be speaking with Joe Bamford from Get Off the Bus. He has had a long career in the music industry, and he's used that experience to create an organization to benefit charities by use of concerts. So, Joe, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself. What got you into the music industry, and how did you become a promoter and now doing concerts for charities?
Do you want the truth, or just want to make something up?
If we have enough time, I'd like to hear both.
Okay. Well, the truth is this. Okay, I was in high school, repeating grade 12. And there was a guy in my class, and he had a band. The band was called the Tantrums. And I was a pretty industrious kid, and I had a little van and a trailer, and I used to haul scrap leather from the shoe factory in my hometown to the dump and made money. You'd clean people's backyards to pick up some money.
Okay.
I probably was making more money then than I am now in relation. Anyway, he asked me how much I'd charge his band to haul them to this gig on Friday night. And I said, I don't know, how much can you afford? And they said, $20. I said, fine. So I hauled them out there. So there I am, hauling this band. First time in my life. I always loved music, took music, studied music, played piano, sang in choirs, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you're a musician?
Yeah. Well,
was or tried to be.
I'm better at the phone than I am anything else, okay? Yeah. So, and I realized that. So anyway, I go to this gig, and I'm helping them to unload their gear. And this really cute girl came up to me and said, "Are you with the band?" And I went, "Yeah." So I have been with the band ever since, one way or the other, right?
And the girl?
I don't know whatever happened there, but there have been a few along the way that I met, unloading the gear, being with the band, that kind of thing, all over the world, right? So it's been interesting because it's from high school. After I get back from that weekend, I said to the band, "You guys need a manager." They said, "We don't need a manager." And I said, "Yes, you do. How much did you guys get paid to play this gig?" And they said, $60. I said, "And you gave me 20 of it to get you there, so you made $40. Now remember, this is 50 years ago, right?
Right.
So I said, "Hey, if I became your manager, let's make a deal. There was 4 guys in the band. Let's split it 5 ways. Whatever comes in the door is 5-way split." He says, reluctantly, he said, "Okay." So I let everybody in my hometown in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, know that I was their manager. So the local high school called me up and said, "We want to book the Tantrums." And I said, "Okay." I said, "That'll be $100. And they said, "Well, we always get them for $60. I said, "Not now, you don't." So already I covered the cost of having me, haven't I, right? Which is what it's all about in life, is covering the cost and making a profit, sure. Right? So I'm making them more money, and I got a commission. And that's when I learned how to promote, was going to the local radio station, like I am today, right?
Right.
Talking things up, playing music, putting up posters, that kind of stuff at little small halls, and away we go. And that's how I got started, and I have done that almost all my life, and it has taken me around the world.
So as a manager, I guess manager and promoter.
Yeah.
Now, who are some of the people that you have managed?
Well,
some of the bands or stars or...
Some of them, a lot of people here in Florida might not know, but my biggest act was a band from Toronto, Canada called Glass Tiger.
Okay.
And they had a hit in the 80s called Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone.
Yep.
And I also managed another act out of Canada called Sass Jordan. I managed her for a while, helped her resurrect her career because it was not going so well. And she was fairly well known down here. Glass Tiger had a gold record down here, or platinum record, actually. And then a band called the Headstones, which was a cult sort of rockin', snorty kind of rock and roll band. And I can't think, who am I leaving out here? There's been a number of them. I can't remember. But Glass Tiger was the biggest. And I chose with Glass Tiger to go on the road with them every single date. I had a partner, so he stayed at home and handled the day-to-day operation.
Okay.
And I went on the road. So 8 years I spent in my life touring the world, right? So we went everywhere. I think the only place we didn't go was Japan and Australia. And we were meant to go there, but there was some type of issue. We didn't go. So we toured America, opening for bands like Journey and Moody Blues. We opened for...
Just a long list.
Oh, Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick was my favorite.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then we toured Europe, extensively in Europe. They were huge. Glass Tiger was huge in Europe, bigger in Europe than in America. We toured with Tina Turner for pretty close to a year.
Wow.
And that itself was an amazing experience.
Oh, I bet.
So throughout all that, I learned a lot about concerts, how to set them up, how to travel to concerts, that kind of thing, right? And then what I found was, coming back from my youth of helping the band get started years ago, that every once in a while I'd be on a tour and there would be like 6 dates booked and we had a day open. I would just find another venue myself and promote the other show. And that's how I started to become a real promoter, right? But I've been doing dances and concerts since I was in high school. And I'm 70 years old now, and I was doing it when I was 19.
Okay.
So that's a number of years.
And now I'd like to ask about Get Off the Bus, because that was a vision that you had
Yes.
at some point in time.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Well, it's a twofold thing, that one. I'm from Canada, so I have a home on a lake in Canada.
Sorry to hear that.
Near a little small town of 7,000 people called Perry Sound. And Perry Sound in the summertime is like Florida in the winter. The population quadruples from people coming up to their cottages and people going camping and this kind of stuff.
Now, do you call them, sandbirds or something like that? Because we have a term.
We call them.
Here come the snowbirds.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Up there we call them cottagers. The cottagers come up to their cottages, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are Lugans, right? We just call them Lugans, right?
Lugans.
Yeah, because they're campers and they're
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
get rowdy, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So anyway, a few years ago, I can't remember, it was in April, a few years ago, I was in a fairly serious accident. I get hit by a car helping one of my buses, which was another part of my history. I owned a bus company, which hauled entertainers, helping it back out on the street. And I got hit by a car doing about 45 or 50 miles an hour, and I woke up in the emergency room, and both my legs were shattered.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, my business partner's son was living with the guy at the time who was a trauma orthopedic surgeon in Lakeland, Florida.
Okay.
I was taken to his hospital, and when I woke up just before they put me under to do the surgery to basically rivet and bolt and my legs back together, I woke up to this voice saying, Joe. And so I looked up, and there's Todd. His name was Todd. And he says, you're going to be okay. And I fell asleep, and I woke up, and there I was with my legs straight out, and they were straight out for quite a time. So when you, or for me anyway, when you become close to death, because there was a serious issue of my head trauma.
Sure.
When you wake up and you're going to live, things change. So I decided to change my life. And I was getting close to an age that most people retire, right? I think I was 65 then. And I said, you know what? Inspired by my daughter, Jan, who has been a promoter. She lost her husband to prostate cancer. She's been a promoter for all kinds of different causes, one of them being cancer and prostate cancer things. I thought, if I'm ever going to get into heaven, I better get on it. So I thought, you know what? I'll start helping other people. The bus business, which we owned, which was called Hal Joe,
right,
which we owned for 30 years, which was started in Canada and then expanded down here in Leesburg, Florida. So I've been coming down here 20 years, as a working snow.
Another home.
Yeah.
That's a working snowbird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that bus business was, we went through some trying times with that, with the recession and with the downloading of music, which just about killed the music business. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it resurrected itself because everybody had to go on the road. So we went through all that. And then this year we sold it. And the rewards of owning it and selling it was enough that my wife and I are set for life. So therefore, why don't we do concerts and just give whatever proceeds there are to worthwhile organizations? Now, sometimes there are no proceeds.
Right.
Sometimes you book the act, you book the venue. By the time the smoke clears, you've lost money.
Right.
So what I try to do is make sure that we involve the organization that we're trying to support in the show, meaning they come and set up in the lobby. They can seek donations in the lobby, get people to sign up to their email lists.
Right.
And make people aware of what they are all about.
Right. Right.
We try to get the artist that's playing to maybe autograph a guitar. We give it to them so they can take it back to one of their functions and auction it off. Mm-hmm. So it's already a win-win situation, right? And then if we make any money, we make a donation to that cause. I don't want to go around pounding our chest about us doing that because it's not always the case. But when we do, it's worthwhile. So in my little town in Canada, I went to this little concert hall that holds 400 people. And I asked them, if I were to bring anybody here, who have you not been able to bring? And they said Jan Arden, who is a very well-known singer in our country who usually plays to between 2,000 and 3,000 people.
Right.
Her manager, Bruce Allen, also manages Michael Bublé, Bryan Adams, Bachman Turner Overdrive, some of those groups, right? So I've known Bruce for years. So I called Bruce up and said, hey, how about Jan playing a show in my building? Because I know she's going to be within 50 miles. He says, 40,000.
Ooh.
He said, do you think those people are going to pay $150 to see her? And I said, well, if they want to see her, they're going to have to because that's the price. The next day, he sent me an email that Jan Arden had sent him. Now, Jan Arden has been a customer of mine for 30 years. And she said, tell Joe, I'm doing a book tour. Give me a bus, and I'll get off the bus and do a show for nothing.
That's awesome.
That's how it started. Get off the bus.
Well, we need to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to start talking about some of these charities and some of the events you have coming up.
Cool.
All right. Thank you. We'll be right back. Hi, and welcome back to Radio Waves. I'm your host, Kris Poliquin, and we're talking with Joe Bamford from Get Off the Bus Concerts. So in the first segment, we were talking a little bit how you got into this industry, and we just started touching base about Get Off the Bus, the actual charitable concert organization that you have now. So what kind of charities do you, for lack of a better term, support?
Okay, well, in Canada, near my hometown, there's a hospital. Now, as everybody knows, that hospitalization is free in Canada. Not 100% true, but it's close enough. Anyway, the funding that hospitals get is based on the population in the area. In our little area, where there's 7,000 people live there, in the summertime, it quadruples.
Right.
And then guys like me and people who take their boats up or people who go camping get taken to the hospital, and they have to get looked after. However, the hospital doesn't get rewarded for looking after them because it's not included in the population base. So they're always struggling for more money. So when I did the show with Jan Arden, like we talked about earlier, and later after that, Jim Cuddy, who was a member of a band, a legendary band from Canada called Blue Rodeo, we've done a series of shows there. Plus, I did the impossible. I convinced Willie Nelson to come and play in a little town of 7,000 people.
Is that right?
Absolutely. And then Blue Rodeo, who is a legendary band. So over the last 3 years, we've raised for that hospital $165,000 just with these shows, right? And so I intend to try to do that here in Florida, right?
Okay.
Now, you know, I'm an outsider and I don't know a lot of businesses and I'm not sure who to tap into for, you know, helping us out and stuff. So it's going to take a while to figure it all out, right?
Okay.
But we did a show 3 years ago with the late Merle Haggard, which was amazing. We had Willie Nelson also in the Villages in the Savannah Center. I was the first.
Right.
I'll stand in my little wooden box. I was the first person to break that $49 ticket in the Villages. And I brought Willie Nelson there. And they said, you're crazy. No one's going to pay $150, $200 to see Willie Nelson. Well, I proved them wrong.
It's Willie Nelson.
Yeah. So we did the Willie show, and then we did Merle Haggard. On the Merle Haggard, we hooked up with an organization which I'm a big believer in called Best Buddies.
Okay.
And Best Buddies is to assist families with autistic children. And we had 2 guitars that Merle signed. The guitars in the lobby of that venue raised $13,000.
Wow.
2 people walked out. One person said $7,000. The other person said $6,000. And we said, sold.
Done. Heck
Right?
yeah.
Plus, there were donations in the kitty and stuff. So altogether, it was about $20,000. Well, that's worthwhile doing, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Have we been that lucky again? Not really. A couple of times. We did a thing down in Claremont with Little River Band, who you guys interviewed here the last time I was here. And we had an organization that has dogs that assist autistic children and stuff. So they came, and the guitar they had went for $1,000, and they got $700 or so in donations.
Wow.
Right. The show was not profitable, but they still got a lot of awareness, right?
Right.
So that's one of the causes. I'm going to do some shows in the future to raise money for a cancer center, I think, in the Villages or around here, once we make
Okay.
the right connections. But here's one that I'm really excited about. There's a school in Howie in the Hills that is right around the corner from where I live, near Mission Inn. And it's called Lake Hills School.
Okay.
And it's a school for children up to the age of 21 with different handicaps. I don't know how else to describe it.
Right. A broad range.
Yeah, a broad range. I was invited to their Christmas pageant. I was so moved. I said, this is my cause. This is my cause right here. So while I was there, there were some dogs there from an organization called PAWS. And they do the same thing as the other dogs, but they go to hospitals and they go to that school once a week, I think.
Wow.
And the kids, they take them in, the kids pat them and stuff, so it's part of their day, right? And then they also go to hospitals. So I decided I'd do something with them. So we did a show with Pablo, who you had in here.
Outstanding artist.
Yeah. And so they were in the lobby, and they raised a bit of money, and they got more people signed up to support them. And Pablo gave them a guitar, which they're going to auction off at one of their functions. So that's where that's at. But when I announce some shows in the future, some bigger shows, not that Pablo is not big, but some world-known names, and there's going to be a few of them this year. One of those shows will go to that school. And we're
that's
gonna
great.
and by the way, at the gig with Pablo, I invited the whole school out, all the staff, from the gardeners to the whatever. I invited them all out to see Pablo, and I did that because I wanted to see. This is what Get Off the Bus is all about.
Right.
You get the lobby. We'll make mention. We'll do what we can and see if we can raise some money and some awareness and just hang
a
on.
good cause.
Yeah. Get Off the Bus is great concerts for great causes. And that's what it's all about.
Now, if someone was interested in helping out,
Yes.
how can they get information? How can they get in contact with you and say, listen, my business or organization would like to, do what we can to help support your cause?
Well, we have a general mailbox, which is info@getoffthebusconcerts.com.
Okay.
That's one. And then from there, I'll pick up on it, or Jen, my daughter who works with us, or my wife, Fatima. Okay. We'll get back to them and see. And I've had people. I had a Lions Club in the Villages area come to me and ask me if I would do something with them. I said, sure, we did. And they raised a bit of money, same thing. So, I look at it like my thing here now is to try to make these shows make money or at least break even, and support
hopefully
causes.
we'll have someone listening today
Yeah.
and reach out and say, hey, listen,
Well,
I think what you're doing is fantastic.
one of the things
Why don't you come down here?
One of the things that we could use help with is this. Some shows allow a meet and greet where you can come and meet the artist,
Of course. Okay.
get their signature, potentially maybe a guitar signed, this kind of stuff. And we can organize all that. And what we asked is, can you just ante up a little bit more money than the regular ticket price and buy these 20 tickets, some business, a car dealer,
Right.
a real estate company, undertaker,
Right.
a hearing aid company in the villages, whatever,
Right.
and say, hey, look, buy these tickets. It's going to be $2,500 to $5,000. Buy all these tickets and do what you want with them.
Now, speaking of tickets,
Yes.
what are we looking at coming down the road?
Well,
Because I know you have a lot on the books.
you know what? I have too much. I went from working to retirement to I'm back to working again. Anyway, bottom line is the show coming up next is Styx. Quick story in that. I have to make it quick. I realize. At the airport, flying down here a couple of years ago, I run into Larry Gowan. Gowan, as he's known in Canada. He's an artist in Canada. And I said, Larry, where are you going? We're at the Air Canada thing. And he says, going to Florida. I said, oh, yeah, what are you doing there? He says, I'm in Styx. I said, really? I said, I'd love to do a show with Styx.
Yeah.
He says, you need to talk to Charlie, our manager. I said, okay, I'll do that one day. Anyway, one day, which was like 3 months ago, Gowan calls me. He says, Joe, meet Charlie. And he hands him the phone. And I said, I'd like to do a show with you in the village. He says, never heard of it. I said, you probably haven't. He says, we're going to be down there in February. This is how it all works, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah. He says, here's our price. Can you come up with that? I said, whatever it is, let me know. So 2 days later, the agent calls, deal's done, February the 3rd.
February the 3rd, and that's in the villages.
At the Sharon.
Okay. What else we got?
Okay, so now the next thing I'm doing, or we're doing, is we're doing Southside Johnny, which is a part of our growth strategy. We do shows, and when we can't get into the villages because of the building could be booked, I don't want to turn down shows. So I say,
no.
I say, hey, there's a little theater in Mount Dora, and there's a little theater in Ocala. The Riley.
Ocala's relatively new.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like a
called the
year or so
Riley.
old.
It's a great little theater. So I go to like Winona Judd's agent, who says, Joe, can you do a couple of shows with Winona? I said, yeah, they're not big places, so you're gonna have to be, shave the price a bit.
Right.
Winona Judd is going to be playing in the Riley on the 3rd, and at the community center in the Mount Dora on the 4th. Like I promised the
I
agent.
live there, so.
Yeah. Now, the best part of this thing in those two venues is they're such small theaters. It's like she's like playing in your living room.
I know. Yeah, that'll be exciting. I'll have to go check that one out.
And Southside Johnny is playing the same two buildings in February 17 and February 28th.
Okay.
And he's a cult. He's like the poor man's, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say the poor man's Bruce Springsteen, but he ranks up there he's like a Bruce Springsteen, but he's just never became media. He's not selling
He didn't
hockey
hit
rinks.
Bruce. Right. Okay.
But he's great.
Okay.
But the next big thing we're going to do here in this area is Charlie Daniels at the Apopka Amphitheater. Have you ever been out there?
No, I have not.
Well, I went out there once and looked at it and went, why aren't you guys doing a lot of concerts and stuff here? I got introduced to the mayor, Joe is his name, and he said, here's my cell number. Let me know what you want to do. So we did Travis Tritt there last year. It was great. We broke the ice. We now have figured it out what to do, what not to do.
Yep.
Anybody that came to Travis Tritt, don't worry, this beer truck will work. The last time they had a problem with one of their beer lines.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, and the beer was foaming. So it was like a line a mile long. So I think Charlie Daniels, it's on St. Paddy's Day, March the 17th.
March 17th.
I asked, but I was turned down, asked if we could call it the Charlie McDaniels Show. but they turned me down. I also asked if we could color his white cowboy hat green, and they said, no, I don't think so. This is his man.
How about the fiddle?
Yeah, I never thought about that. But anyway, it'll be a party, trust me. Charlie Daniels is always a party.
Oh, for sure.
And that venue, it's cool. What I like about it is there's 1,300 seats under shade, under cover.
Wow.
And then there's another 5,000 or 6,000 on the lawn. So once you get the bottom section sold out, then you move up to lawn. It could be a huge event.
Well, Joe, that's all the time we have for the day, and I wish we had more because there's a lot more events coming up. And again, real quick, what's the website so that people can get their information for upcoming concerts?
GetOffTheBusConcerts.com.
All right. Well, that's it for our show today. This has been Radio Waves. I'm your host, Kris Poliquin. We'll see you next time.